What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media for a kind of spontaneous live stream. We've got the NFL playoff games coming tomorrow. We may talk about those. We had the maybe Brady retirement news that came out today. Schefter tweets it out, and all of a sudden, Brady's brand, I think it's called TB12 or whatever, they're tweeting it out. Everybody's tweeting all about Tom Brady retiring, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, it was like, wait a minute. His dad's like, what are you talking about? Brady hasn't made a decision yet. And Brady's company takes down their tweet. And it's not saying Brady's not retiring. It's just saying Brady hasn't decided. And I'm pretty sure right now Brady's in they're working on like a documentary or something like that. And like the last episode's yet to come out. I'm wondering if it's something where he wants that to be the announcement. Like Brady wants to dictate it, right? Brady doesn't want to have Schefter tweet it out. Manning got to say, this was my last ride after winning the Super Bowl. Brady may not be after a Super Bowl, but Brady's probably going to want to have some sort of live show, have some event like LeBron making the decision, right? It's going to be something that's a lot more public than just like random Saturday Brady's retiring. But Joshua, how are you doing? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. Ravens flock TTB family. If y'all don't follow me on Twitter, you guys should have seen that I did put out there that the NFL combine for the HBCU guys did start. It was over 40 players that was invited to this HBCU combine, and also they did have a bowl game today on the NFL Network at 6 p.m. I did not get. Was not able to watch it because I was cooking for the family, but I'm gonna try to see if I can go back and catch some of the game. There's some safety, some wide receivers, some big body wide receivers out there that actually was invited to that bowl game. I know a lot of guys out of that FAMU team was invited to their bowl game as well, especially on the defensive side and even offensive tackle. But to bring up about Tom Brady, just to hear not the turmoil but the speculations about him retiring, the way he did talk towards his last game, it sounded like it was the last ride. Whether they went on to the Super Bowl or whether they didn't win. I mean, heck, we all thought it was over against LA, and then the next thing you know, he started making a miraculous comeback. So honestly, me personally, I do feel like with him spending time with his family, him with his wife, especially because I think he did make a comment about his wife, especially about she gets afraid of him nowadays more now when he goes out there and plays, especially when he gets hit and stuff like that. So I think Tom's going to really take that into consideration. When you got someone in your ear whispering to you, we all know how it is. So and then even you can take it a step further, and even Grunk's responses about retirement. I think someone asked him if he was asked to come back from retirement or anything of that nature. He said no, and we had to realize only reason he did come out of retirement is because of Tom Brady. So that I feel like a lot of that plays in perspective. So we definitely going to see how that plays out. But if he does go ahead and retire this year, he's had hell of a year. I mean, hell of a career. We had some great battles against New England. With him being at the helm, I love what he's brought to the table. His fiery attitude and just his ability, his capability to go out there and win. So he's brought a lot to the NFL. He definitely will be missed. But after he retires, I feel like that's really going to be the end of that, that era where football was really football, because it's not too many more guys left outside of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, Big Ben retiring, physical guy. Brady's not physical, but Brady knew how to utilize the field because of how physical it was. I love that interview where he talks about Ray Lewis, and he's like, there's no Ray Lewis anymore. I can throw it over the middle. I don't have to worry about those types of hits. It's just a different game now. And Tom Brady, and looking at that decision, he's got kids. And as Ravens fans, we know, I believe one of the reasons why Ray Lewis retired was because he wanted to spend time with his family. Like, it wasn't like it was a situation where Ray Lewis was like, oh, I'm just terrible anymore. We know Brady can keep playing. Brady's still a very good quarterback in the NFL. The issue is, his kids are getting older. He's got the money. Giselle makes,
Right,
50 million or $100 million a
right.
year. Like Brady's got the money. He's got his own brand. It's not like he'll be doing nothing. We know he's working on projects, and it's just like, does he really want to put in that time when he can be spending it, with his kids? And I can't remember exactly how many kids he has. I think he has like 3 or something like that. I know he has like an oldest son, is, the person that I'm thinking of most, where it's just like, yeah, when you miss that much, how much longer do you really want to go when it's like no longer like, yeah, I love football, but I kind of want to be, with the family a little bit more, because Tom Brady's working. Like Tom Brady, I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of work that he puts in, because we all know his arm isn't the best arm ever. He doesn't have, the best anything really, except for mind, because he just sits there and he studies, 6 hours of film a day to be able to know exactly what's going on in all situations. And that's like what's so crazy about him. And so he's spending that much time in addition to just his football practicing time. Like that, he's missing out on some time, and maybe he wants to move out of Tampa Bay. I would assume I know he wants to live somewhere warm. So he's definitely not going back to New England. But
Right.
he's a California guy. Maybe he wants to go out there. His goal is to set up TB12. I think he's starting a company called Brady. And it's supposed to be the Jordan of the NFL, is what its goal is supposed to be. And so, maybe he wants to work on that. And we don't really know. We can't really speak as to what it is, but I want to talk about this really quickly. Steven, thank you so much for the super chat. Mike McDonald, you cut from the same cloth. So do you expect major changes, or does Harbaugh trump all? P.S. Please re-sign Bozeman, Elliott, and Calais. Have a good draft. Stay healthy. Be Super Bowl contenders. Yes, McDonald is cut from the same cloth. He comes from the Baltimore Ravens organization. However, I think he's a little bit different. He was underneath Wink, but he goes into Michigan to become their defensive coordinator, and everyone expected, he's going to run a Wink defense because he was under Wink, the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to blitz heavy. And he was like, no. I'm going to get these 2 young edge rushers, Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, who, yes, they were good, but they were 2nd round, 4th round pick good. He turned them into top 3, arguably number 1 pick, and top 15 good, and was like, we don't need to blitz. We're going to play good coverage, but we're going to get that 4-man pressure. And so I think it's an amazing hire. He wasn't a guy that was brought up a lot before the interview process, because I had talked about some of the guys. They brought in like the Cowboys DBs coach. They brought in a couple DBs coaches, the Tampa Bay linebacker coach, a few guys, and it was like, yeah, these guys can be good, but they're focusing on the secondary. I need that 4-man pass rush, and it seems like Mike McDonald can do that. And if you guys haven't checked it out, he's actually on Ravens Wired from 2020. The Ravens tweeted out a video of just his highlight. They may have posted on YouTube as well. I saw it on Twitter. And he's an energetic guy, and he's young, and he's fun, and he's going to get these young players, the Patrick Queens, the Adafe Oways, the Brandon Stevens, the guys with little experience, to develop that much more. So I'm a huge fan of the hiring. But Joshua, what are your thoughts?
I mean, what can I say? It's good. Let me start. Let me restart that. First, yeah, we were surprised by the Wink Martindale move. Everybody was expecting, the other guy to get cut, but it didn't happen. At least not yet. Might not happen. We may accept that, but hey, here we are now. So, since Wink got cut, what was the thing we were talking about? Oh, they got to go out there and make a splash. They didn't really make a splash. What they did is, let Mickey D flap his wings, see what he can do on a collegiate level, which he did a great job. He did an awesome job, in my opinion. To take what it was originally ranked like 120 in defense, and it became like a top 20. It became like a top 20 defense. The only thing was they couldn't beat Georgia. And I'll say it again. I'm gonna keep on saying it. SEC cornbread is different from Ann Arbor, Michigan cornbread. So, and if you're from down south, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, but for him to make the adjustments the way he did to that defense, and not to be such a blitz heavy type of guy, but to show different types of schemes and actually use his personnel correctly in order to put his team in the position for them to be in the bowl game. That's phenomenal. So he already has relationships with the linebackers, because he was here with PQ and Malik Harrison got drafted. So seeing those guys, tweet out, welcoming them back into the organization and things of that nature is very good. With him being young, I think he understands that the NFL is now evolving, and that he's going to possibly make some more changes in regards to position coaches as well. With him being the defensive coordinator, we may be looking at a whole new defensive staff within this upcoming year, because like you said, Anthony Weaver did get a request for an interview. So you never know, and I mean, we know how our office is. We have good guys in house. Once they go out, they capitalize on it. So I feel like we're getting him back, because originally he was supposed to get the job. He was originally supposed to get the job. Um, I forgot how that worked. They interviewed him and Wink at the same time, and ended up giving it to Wink when he just stayed for his he did his time and everything like that. So surprisingly, with us getting this defensive coordinator, I think this draft this year will be defensive heavy. So let's be on the lookout for that. Oh, you mute, bro. What kind of you mute?
I'm so bad at this. I got to get better at this. Thank you so much, Yolanda, for the super chat. She brings up the man that it seems like we're always talking about.
He's like Lord Voldemort at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, do we need to change the team to the Baltimore Romans? Like, is that the new team name?
Raven 300 off.
But Yolanda asks, what are your thoughts on Greg Roman still being our offensive coordinator, and what changes do you expect Giro to make to address our offensive woes this season? Why don't you start us off, Joshua? What are your thoughts?
I think we both know the answer to this. I think we both probably agree to this. There will be no changes. I mean, they brought Ben Mason in. The only thing I can see them doing is trying to make Ben Mason into the next Kyle Juszczyk in order to make this offense more creative. Because I feel like they are going to let Patrick Ricard walk. Don't be surprised at 1 p.m. this upcoming Monday at this interview presser. John Harbaugh is going to be asked those questions about Giro. And I feel like John Harbaugh is going to stand behind Giro 100%. So, yes, we're still going to have him. I do feel like this is going to be another mediocre year in regards to offense. And they're gonna probably most likely check it out to, we're getting Gus, we're getting JK, we're getting Ronnie Stanley back, all that good stuff. So that being said, it's gonna be the same. I just feel like they're gonna try to, we lost so many pieces, we're gonna get the pieces back, and we're gonna be that running style offense that we was before. So yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, because I'm actually, I do a lot of the Twitter spaces, during the week and stuff like that. They was talking about, possibly Lamar Jackson get that contract extension before Monday. Don't think so. Don't think it's going to happen. So we shall see. But yeah, that's how I feel right now, Yolanda.
Yeah, obviously, him being our offensive coordinator still, it's very disappointing. Now, there is a chance that he gets fired before the season, but it's very unlikely. I think unless another team fires a head coach or something like that happens and they want to bring in Greg Roman, I don't expect that to happen though. But in terms of what changes he may make, Joshua, I did love that you brought up Ben Mason and utilizing him more. I think it'll be I don't know, a better use of personnel, because I feel like Ben Mason is actually a good fit for what they wanted Patrick Ricard to do this year. Where, like, they were sending Patrick Ricard, they're putting him in at tight end and they're trying to have him like run real routes. It's like, okay,
Right.
Project Pat is good. He is a good fullback, but he's a block first guy and he's physical. He's not supposed to be running 15-yard corner routes. All right. Like, that's not his game.
Exactly.
So I feel like at least the personnel that'll be used will be a lot better. Being able to have JK and Gus, even though the scheme will still be bad, it'll just be seeming a lot better because, the player, Ben Mason, will run better routes than Patrick Ricard. He has a little bit better hands. Gus and JK, they're both better runners than, Tyson and, Latavius and Le'Veon and Devontae, the V's of the Ravens running game. But overall, it's just, it's good. I don't expect like a ton of changes. That's the story of Greg Roman.
Yeah, the wide receiver, the wide receivers are going to continue to run into each other. I think maybe because Rashad Bateman will be a sophomore this upcoming year, he may get on the field a little bit more. But outside of that, it's going to be like a little shaky. I'm sorry.
Steven, thank you so much again for another super chat. It says, hot take. If you guys may be new, in TTB, Ravens media, all that stuff. If you guys did not know, last year when we started the channel, we did something. We called it Is This Stupid? And we would do this. We will most definitely be getting back to the Is This Stupid? It was typically the end of what we called them our podcast episodes, but we just segmented them out into YouTube videos. It would be the last one coming out, and typically a set of 3 or 4. They would come out. They will come back when we start getting back to recording it more as the podcast rather than the individual shows and stuff like that. But Is This Stupid was this idea where someone proposed a take. They gave the argument, whether it was I found it on Twitter, I found it on TikTok, or, I just came up with some random ones. We had a lot of funny ones, like Trademark Andrews and stuff like that. Had a good time. I think this is going to fit into that category. We can call this the unofficial return of Is This Stupid? Eric DeCosta hasn't drafted well. No one but Hollywood is a household name, and half of that is his name or his cousins. Is it DeCosta and his picks are catching up, or more coaching? Eric DeCosta hasn't drafted well. Is this stupid? Is it a hot take? What are you thinking?
I'm going to say that. I feel like, almost out of every – what he done did 2-3 drafts already by himself?
He's done 3 drafts. I'm pulling up all of the classes so then we can go over them.
Okay, because I think almost out of each draft, we done found someone that has played potential minutes and been beneficial to the team. I think it's really more the coaching, but once McConnell pulls everything up, we definitely can really dive into it. But
okay, here we go. 2019, 2020, 2021. So 2019 draft, Eric DeCosta goes Marquise Brown, first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Ferguson, Miles Boykin, Justice Hill, Ben Powers, Amon Marshall, Dalen Mack, Trace McSorley. It's pretty rough. Like, I like Hollywood. I'm not mad at the Hollywood pick, but outside of Hollywood, I mean, Justice Hill was a special teams guy.
Trace McSorley did pretty good. They actually changed the offense and got in.
Yeah, Trace was a good pick. Trace may not be a starter for the Ravens making key minutes, but that was a good selection. It's a 6th round pick, getting a guy that can come in and be a decent backup.
Yeah, he could sling it.
Like,
for sure.
I think that was good. Dalen Mack, I don't think was like terrible, but I mean, Ben Powers at least played a bit, and Justice Hill played some special teams, but that was a miss.
Yeah, okay.
That was a bit of an L of a draft class. Still some decent pieces. 2020 goes Patrick Queen, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Madubuike, the Baltimore Ravens' first drafted Pro Bowl wide receiver, Devin Duvernay, even though he made it as a returner. Malik Harrison, Tyree Phillips, Ben Bredeson, Broderick Washington, James Prochet, and Geno Stone. I think that's a lot better.
That's a big upgrade out of all of them, and just one that really didn't produce.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was just Ben Bredeson, and we traded Ben to the Giants, so we still kind of got something. I think that was a really good draft. I do like that draft. Obviously, I think a lot of people get carried away in wanting instant superstardom from their rookies because we get to see the Jamar Chases and the Micah Parsons come in, and then it's like, oh, these guys are legit. But look at Deebo Samuel, right? Deebo Samuel drafted 3 years ago, and all of a sudden this year, I've been a huge fan. We've been a huge fan of Deebo Samuel since his rookie year. Yeah. But it's like after a couple years, they really step up. They get a lot better, and they're able to take that next step. Not everyone's a rookie sensation, and so looking at these drafts, yeah, the Ravens don't have any like star players in this 2019 or 2020 draft. Maybe you could argue J.K. Dobbins, but J.K. obviously was hurt this last year. But, Madubuike has shown so much potential. Like, he's really could become a Pro Bowl defensive tackle still.
I'm very looking forward to see how he's going to progress in this Mike McDonald's defense, honestly. So I feel like, if we don't bring any more guys in to take his starting spot, I feel like he's going to flourish as a starting defensive tackle for us.
Absolutely. I mean, he is just a guy that we've been so excited for because he late in his rookie season, he really stepped up and it was like, okay, this guy can be legit. And then the Ravens lost a lot of their pass rushers around him. And he I don't want to say he struggled, but he didn't. The expectations were like, he takes like a huge jump. I don't feel like he took a huge jump, but he still improved. He just didn't have a great opportunity with the defensive system the Ravens were running. But overall, I think that's a pretty solid draft class. I mean, Patrick Queen's still very young, but he got 50 times better after he switched from Mike to Sam, or not Mike to Sam, Mike to Will. He got so much better. Like, he really struggled, and I was like, oh no, I really thought Patrick Queen could take that jump, and then he switched, and it was like, oh wow, no, never mind. This is the guy we drafted. This guy's actually a beast.
Now that's the thing we had to be on the lookout for this upcoming year. If we go to a 4-3, he is going to have to be that man. So I'm looking forward to see how he grows and being the captain and the leader of that front seven.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just going to be really interesting to see him progress, especially with the new coaching changes that the Ravens have brought in. Then looking at it this year, honestly, I think it was a really good draft. Obviously, Bateman, away. Ben Cleveland, Brandon Stevens, Tylan Wallace, Shaun Wade, Dalen Hayes, and Ben Mason. Now, Shaun Wade was traded away because of the Ravens' depth at corner. And unfortunately, everyone at corner got hurt. And so then it looks like the Shaun Wade pick was bad. I still feel like the Shaun Wade pick was good. The Ravens just were not expecting, all those guys to come in and really be as good as they were. And then Dalen Hayes got hurt, and Ben Mason, don't love that pick, but
we forgot about Dalen Hayes is coming back.
Dalen Hayes is the most underrated Baltimore Raven on the roster.
His technique,
he's so nasty.
His technique is literally like that.
It's so good.
So now we may not have to use waste our 14th pick on the edge rusher then. I hope.
Possibly. I mean, the thing is, we could get Dalen Hayes. Remember, we were thinking he could play Sam, be a mix-in guy with a little bit of Tyus Bowser, because he can cover. But yeah, it's something where like he's so forgotten. When you think about the Ravens edge rushers, no one thinks about Dalen Hayes. No one thinks about him. And Void says, do we turn him into Demario Davis? I love that. Demario
Davis. The wild horse, in my opinion, is the young man out of the Ohio State University.
Malik.
They were working on that outside linebacker too. So
Yeah, and the biggest thing about this draft, I think they absolutely nailed one pick in the draft. Brandon Stevens. The
yeah,
amount of criticism over that draft pick and Adafe got a lot of criticism as well. But Brandon Stevens, people were like, I mean, I remember when he got drafted, there was no highlight tape of Brandon Stevens on YouTube. Like the scouting reports, there were like 3 scouting reports out there. Like nobody knew who Brandon Stevens was. Like trying to find information. I remember making a video that night about who is Brandon
it was
Stevens.
rough.
It was
We
like,
only found like 3 clips, maybe.
yeah. And he turned out to be a really good pick, and he stepped up. And we saw like every game, it looked like he got twice as good. I mean, he really improved, and I'm very excited to see how he plays, as we advance in his career. And then obviously Bateman and Away, they both played spectacularly when they were on the field. So great draft pick. But I think we're gonna say it's coaching. I think EDC has drafted well. He hasn't drafted amazing. I would say he has like a B draft grade so far. He hasn't gotten, that maybe J.K. Dobbins, but that rookie stud, that rookie star, he has not gotten that. And I think you need that to get an A draft or get just a superstar player that develops into one. He still very well could. But so far as we've seen, I still give him about a B in the drafting. But what would you give him, Joshua?
I like what Boy said about Stevens. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely do because look what Ladarius did. Went from corner to safety. So and he also returned. He also was our returner. So he made a lot of things happen. But I definitely say, as far as a grade, yeah, it would be a solid B. I want to say a B plus. I feel like with the Ravens, they make solid picks, but they don't make a splash. It's like a once in a blue moon. With this 14th pick, I feel like you had to make a splash. You had to literally get an immediate starter. Like I know we love to draft back and draft up and stuff like that, but we need playmakers and game changers if we're going to be Super Bowl contenders. We already know we're playoff contenders, but for us to get over this hump, we need extra. We need extra horsepower. We need some gas to this. We need some gas to this Mustang that we drive it in, because we've been going at it for 4 years strong, and either we're one and done or we're just barely making it. I mean, honestly, I'm tired of just barely making it, and I know us as Ravens fans are tired of it too. I know you all feel like we can be so much more. So I definitely like EDC has to. He has to really make he has to really make something happen, and whether it's a linebacker, whether it's a defensive end, heck, I know me and McConnell have been talking about it with the tackles. If they end up getting one, hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. Draft. Chris, damn, that's good. That's a great damn question.
This is the question.
Me personally, it depends on the contract extension. I feel like you should be working on a contract extension for Marcus Peters, at least 2 years, because his contract is a $15 million cap hit this year, I believe. I feel like if Lamar Jackson is really your franchise QB, get him his extension. Open up some money for long term. And if you're gonna give Lamar a contract extension, let's see if we can nip Hollywood get Hollywood one as well. If you do that, and also give Bradley Bozeman an extension, and actually go out there and get a right tackle, I would say go all in the draft. If your quarterback really means something, if EDC if EDC really values Lamar Jackson, he has to go out there and spend money and get guys that's really going to guard for him. He did with Kevin Zeitler. Kevin Zeitler, he reminds me of a little bit of Marshall Yonder. We missed that. We missed that veteran presence. On the offensive line, Kevin Zeitler kind of brought that back. We had the Tyree Phillips, we had the Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland finally got his start, in the last 3 games, and I feel like he played very solid, and Ben Cleveland's going to improve off of that, which we've been asking for. Why we're not seeing more Ben Cleveland. Like, stop rotating your offensive linemen. Let these guys play. Ronnie Stanley, we may not get him back to game 3, and I'm totally fine with that this year. I'm totally fine with that because we did rush him. So that right tackle position and that center position needs to be solidified before this season starts. I don't trust a Tristan Colon. I don't trust a Jawan James. I'm sorry. I need Bradley Bozeman back, and I need either of them for them to get a veteran right tackle and cut them the waiver. Cut them the waiver. Let them go.
But Joshua, we got Jawan James.
No. I see his highlights. He's been jumping from team to team. I get tired of people keep on saying that. Yeah, we have Jawan James. Go draft the left tackle. Every time I see that guy tweet on Twitter, I get so ticked off because I want to debate. I'm like, bro, why would you draft a left tackle when you have Ronnie Stanley? Literally, he literally aggravated the injury that he truly wasn't fully healed from. And they knew that. But yeah, it really depends. It really depends.
I'm going to say don't go all in this season because I think they need to build it up. I think if the Ravens want to win, they need to build a solid foundation. And that's not a win this season type of thing. They need to be like, all right, Lamar, we're going to have you for a little bit, but we need to get some guys that, for the next 5 years, they'll be with us and they will be relatively cheap. Because I don't want the Ravens going out there and being like, hey, let's give this veteran a 1-year deal because he can play right tackle. Villanueva, Sammy Watkins. Let's go out there and get a guy that maybe a little bit more expensive, but also may be able to actually be a contributor. Now, I'm not saying we should bring him in, but I'm thinking a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. I'm not saying we should bring him in or anything like that, but a guy where it's like, okay, this guy's still a very good player. Let's bring him in and he can help, right? Like we brought in Calais Campbell because he was still a Pro Bowl level player, and we got 3 years. We got 3 years out of him, right? Maybe it was 2.5, but I think it was 3 years.
Yeah, give it to
about out of him. We need multiple year guys that are going to be contributors. Justin Houston was not a multiple year guy signing. Now, drafting Odafe Owe was, drafting Dalen Hayes was. So I think bringing in the guys that, unfortunately, it's not the Ravens way, but bringing in some guys that are actually in their prime could do some good for the Ravens. But
so what I'm hearing is of us going the route of taking a little bit of Cincinnati's philosophy and taking a little bit of the LA Rams philosophy and adding it to the Ravens philosophy in regards to add players. Because let's think about it. LA Rams, they added players through free agency and trades. Cincinnati Bengals, they started adding small but good pieces via trade and draft. Because what's the nickel corner that was originally for the Steelers? I want to say Hilton.
It's not Witherspoon.
No, I want to say it's like Hilton or Milton.
Mike Hilton?
Yeah. He's played very solid for that Cincinnati Bengals defense. I mean, they drafted the linebacker out of Wyoming, Logan Wilson. He takes charge of that defense. They drafted Joey B. We all didn't see. Joey B is literally I want to say the reincarnation, but he is the breath of fresh air. They haven't had a good quarterback since Carson Palmer, and that's been a long time. I mean, Joe Mixon was got there before, so you got that piece right there, and then next thing you know, the following year you added Jamar Chase with a Joey B. They haven't got the offensive line straight yet, but they do good enough to keep him, well protected. But that they added players, and the same thing with the LA Rams. They made the trade for made the trade for Matthew Stafford. Look where they at now.
Yeah, being able to. Yes, this is very true, songs. But at the same time, would you rather pay two guys that be like, all right, these guys are still in their prime, we'll pay them, or do what the Ravens do, and they're like, hey, we're going to pay five guys half the amount of money that we were going to pay those other guys, but they're going to be kind of meh. They're going to be placeholders, right? They're just going to be out there. Russell Westbrook once said about Patrick Beverley, he's just running around out there. He ain't doing nothing. So a lot of times I feel like the Ravens got, I like Sammy Watkins off the field, but Sammy Watkins on the field, he was running around. He wasn't making a difference. He wasn't scoring touchdowns. Like, he was just out there. The Ravens need to bring in a guy, and I'm not saying they need to bring in a high-profile wide receiver or somebody where it's going to cost them $25 million, but bring in a guy that's
someone that's still productive.
Yeah. Pay some money. Don't be like, hey, we're going to get a Seth Roberts, a Willie Snead. No. If you're going to get a receiver, and one, I don't think they should go after a receiver, so maybe I'll switch it to a different position. Let's go after a cornerback, I'll say. And get a guy that's going to actually go out there. We don't want to sign a guy that's, oh, look at this 33-year-old cornerback. No. Let's get a guy that's good. And then also draft someone so that if, we can play whichever one is worse or whatever, like do that sort of thing. LJ Fort was a great player to bring in. Obviously the injury hurt, but those types of guys where it's like, oh no, they're actually going to be a difference maker is what we need, rather than them saying, hey, let's get a placeholder.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the last time we made a splash is Earl Thomas in the free agency. I mean, we thought Yannick Ngakoue was going to be the second coming of Terrell Suggs, which I feel like he could have been, but the defensive style that we ran, it wasn't working for him, and it happens. He didn't get to it. He wasn't a 10+ sack guy this off season, this previous season. But Matthew Judon, first time in his career ever getting, I think he notched about 8-9 sacks this year. I mean, hell, even when Za'Darius left the Green Bay, Za'Darius started making a lot of more noise than he did when he was here in Baltimore. So I see somebody say get Allen Robinson. Okay, I'm gonna put it out there like this.
Wait,
why receivers? They know who's our OC. Until the OC changes and we have a new scheme and philosophy, we're not gonna get a solid wide receiver that really has no other choice but to play out through his contract. Right now, Rashad Bateman has no other choice but to play out through his contract. I mean, granted, yes, he did get a new agent and all that, during the mid-season. I mean, yeah, as a rookie, you can demand a trade, but you don't hear that too much. You don't hear that more than often.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If the decision was made right now, would Hollywood Brown re-sign with the Ravens? I mean, he's been in the Greg Roman system for 3 years. He's good friends with Lamar. He loves Lamar. But does he stay in Baltimore?
I really feel like it falls on I really feel like it falls on Lamar. If Hollywood said, "And Lamar, are you signing back with with Baltimore?" I need to know because of waiting on us to, he waiting for us to make a move. If Lamar said, "You know what, Hollywood, I'm really getting tired of this situation. You already know how I feel about it. We got to make a move. I'm not signing back." He said, "All right, back, say less." So where we going? We going to Miami. We going home. If you hear Hollywood say, "I demand a trade to Miami," Lamar Jackson is not coming back to this team. I'm sorry. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, it really falls. Lamar is the big piece, and he's the big fish of how everything is going to play out. I feel like if Lamar Jackson would have got the big money before Orlando Brown started making, the demands of getting paid like a left tackle, something like that, I feel like OBJ would have, sucked his pride up and say, he would have stayed. But Lamar he kind of congratulated his brother. He said, go and chase that bag. Steak and lobster is on you tonight. So that could be a sign too. Like if you're encouraging your brother, to go out there, chase your bag, get your money, stuff like that, that can be a sign of uncertainties, not really being happy as well. So, we can speculate, we can make those assumptions, but we just on the outside looking in. But I know what I would do if I was Lamar or how.
Yeah, and getting back to this Allen Robinson, Engraven, shout out to Engraven in the stream, says, yeah, they don't even use the wide receivers they have. If you're Allen Robinson and you're looking at the Baltimore Ravens and you see a young, talented wide receiver of the Ravens, James Prochet, go out there, get, what was it, 7 for 76, 7 for 73, whatever it was.
Yep.
And then just get benched, you would be like, there is no way I am going to this team. No good wide receiver. I'm shocked that Antonio Brown even said that he wants to go to Baltimore after maybe he wasn't watching the game. Maybe the Buccaneers were playing during that game. But overall, like, I wouldn't want to play for that. Like, that's like being a soccer player, being a good soccer player, getting your first start, scoring a hat trick, and then not playing again for the rest of the season. It makes no sense. Why would you want to go play for that team? Why would you play for that manager? You're not going to want to play for it because he doesn't play you.
Not and just to piggyback on the Prochet situation, not one game he got set out a healthy scratch. I think it was like the last 2 games. What are we doing here? What's going on? Our starting quarterback, he's hurt. We're trying to get our backup quarterback draft stock up. What's going on? His trade stock up. Because I'm trading him off. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trading Snoop to somebody's team to get another 2nd or 3rd round pick. I am thinking business right now, you all. I am thinking business. So,
yeah, I think, speaking of business, I want to bring something up because I see this all the time, and I'm not going to fault anybody for thinking this. The idea of Lamar Jackson being traded, it's out there. Now, the rumors and stuff I think are completely not true, but just the concept of Lamar being traded, Lamar leaving in free agency, stuff like that. There are a lot of Ravens fans that would no longer be Ravens fans if that happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, where do you fall? If the Ravens traded Lamar Jackson, Joshua, I'm curious. What are you doing? What are you doing if they trade Lamar Jackson?
I'm most likely going to be probably watching more college football more than anything at that point. So, Sunday football would not be for me at that point. No. I will be watching Ravens games sparingly, but not as much.
Yeah, it would be really tough to go out there and watch because the Ravens have never really been a team to give up their players like that. You look at Craven says, I got 2 teams at that point. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going out there and I am watching every game that Lamar Jackson is starting, no matter where he's playing. But you look at the Ravens players historically and who are the best Ravens of all time, right? The Ravens didn't do them dirty. The Ravens had Ray Lewis. They had Terrell Suggs. They had, Haloti Ngata. The only guy that I can think of that was a Levitin that they arguably did dirty was Joe Flacco. But at the same time, Joe Flacco wasn't that good. And they also kind of gave him the option. And they were like, hey, man, we're kind of going in a different direction. Do you want to get traded? He was like, yes, I do. And I think we traded him to the Broncos. I think that's where we traded him to. And then he went to the Eagles, and then he went to the Jets, and he went everywhere. But overall, like that's the thing is the Ravens are a great organization. Lamar Jackson has like a full lat spread back tattoo of a raven. Like
Dang,
they
how much the cover up will be. Sheesh.
like what's he gonna do? How is he going to put a Saint over that?
Yo, there's some dope tattoo artists out here that can do a dope
That's true.
cover up.
They could probably get something cool going on there. But
I'm just saying, man. Like, it would be very rough. Like, I would watch Lamar's games wherever he would go, but I really would not watch Ravens football. Like, I would have to watch college football that upcoming year just to see what quarterback is really available. You know what? Look, this is what would happen. The Ravens would trade Lamar off, right? In the following year, guess what they would draft? Spencer Rattler. This is how crazy. Um, this is how crazy things would be. Like, yo, okay, yeah, we're just gonna trade off Lamar. We're gonna play tie for the this whole 17 game season, and then this upcoming draft. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and draft. We're gonna go ahead and draft Spencer Rattler. Like, dude, did you just hear what you said? Spencer Rattler just lost his job to a freshman. Like, or we're gonna find a way to bring back Trace McSorley and let Trace start. For all that, we might as well just start watching the Giants games. If y'all gonna start pulling moves out your tail like that, like, come on now, can't be doing things like this. For anything, if y'all really value this young man, y'all really need to take into consideration that he does not want to keep on playing for an offensive coordinator that doesn't have no creativity, nor let him really spread his wings. How in how a quarterback that's been there for 2 years, the offensive coordinator and the head coach trusts their quarterback more than a guy that's been in our organization for over 4 years. That doesn't make sense to me. It's very mind boggling to me at this point too. But literally, look where Joey B, Zach Taylor, and their OC at. They're in the playoffs. They're in the AFC Championship game. About to play against the Chiefs tomorrow.
I mean, when we're looking at where all the other teams are that are contenders, right? If we're looking at the teams that are built for the future, okay? Obviously, we got to look at the teams that are in the playoffs right now. The Niners, I think they're built for the future. The Rams, I think they're built for the future. The Chiefs, obviously built for the future. And the Bengals, they're built for the future. But outside of that, who else is built for the future? I think the Bills are built for the future. I think the Chargers are built for the future. Looking at the NFC, who made the play? The the Cowboys, I'll say they're built for the future. I like Dak. I like Tony Pollard. Obviously, they have Simi Fehoko, NFL legend. But there's not a ton of teams that are like well established. I'll throw the Cardinals in there. I think they're well built. Jalen, the Bills. There's not a ton of teams that are like really well built for the future. And right now, I don't know if I would consider the Ravens to be well built for the future.
Not at all.
Like, so how do they get there? How do they get to that spot where we say, okay, we're built for the future?
That comes down to making hard decisions. If you're gonna also Sancho Mac, I see him say something about injuries. Before we get into that, just want to address that real quick. The only team that's made it to the playoffs and had more that made more moves was the Tennessee Titans, and they made it to the playoffs. We can't keep on making an excuse for injuries. There's this season alone has been injury plagued with almost every team, and they have made adjustments to get themselves even to winning over 500 or into the playoffs. I mean, heck, that Miami Dolphins team, they were down bad, just as bad as us, and they found a way to win, and they went on to, I think, 7-game win streak. So the injury conversation is not an excuse anymore for me. If you're in the NFL, if this next man up, if you know how to use your personnel correctly, you're gonna go out there and put up the best scheme for your guys to win. Jalen J, I feel like he is our future, but at the same time, we haven't got a contract extension. That interview that's coming up this upcoming week with Eric DeCosta, if that's not done before his interview day at 1 p.m., oh, those reporters are going to give him hell. So I feel like Lamar's our future, but right now it's not looking like that. I'm going to be real about it. I'm going to be real about it. Long as Greg Roman is still here, I'm sorry. I feel like they are willing to let Lamar walk and go there, and they will go draft Malik Cunningham just for the hell of it. Oh yeah, we got another Lamar Jackson. We got another one that can run the scheme. Why are you trying to utilize this boy's legs and run him to the ground instead of just letting him throw the ball? I'm just saying.
Absolutely. I mean, when we're looking at the Ravens and not having extended Lamar Jackson, it's something that is very interesting to see the way that the team is approaching it because, Lamar's a guy that I don't think he's not worried about it. Like, I don't think it's something like I think a lot of players, they're like, I got to get that contract. I got to do it. Lamar is just a guy that wants to play football and he wants to win. Like, EDC's probably telling him all the time, like, hey, man, like, let's talk about it. Lamar's like, I got to get healthy, man. Like, I'm trying to, like, work on myself to get us to that Super Bowl. Like, I feel like it's just something that he's not focusing on because it's not something that matters as much to him. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't want money. I'm just saying that winning is more important to him than getting some money. And that's not me speculating he'll take less money or anything like that. I'm just saying it's not a huge thing on his mind. But I'm very curious to see what questions are asked by the media. Is it going to be Lamar contract? Is it going to be Greg Roman? Or is it going to be questions about potentially their rivals in the AFC, especially if the Cincinnati Bengals are able to win, and looking at, hey, you're seeing these guys, what are you doing to prepare for Joe Burrow, for Jamar Chase? The Ravens against the AFC North, they won what, one game? There's going to be questions about it. There's going to be questions about how are you going to get back into the AFC North race because, yes, the Ravens had injuries. But before the injuries, they still lost to the Bengals. They still lost to the Steelers. Like, it wasn't like they were hurt and they only played those teams when they were hurt. They still lost to them. They still got beat by them. How are they going to fix that? A lot of questions for Eric DaCosta, Mike McDonald, and John Harbaugh.
I feel like all the Greg Roman questions are going to really be directed towards John Harbaugh come Monday, and health of the players like Ronnie Stanley, J.K., and everything like that. That I feel like those are going to be questions immediately thrown at John. Greg Roman, because Greg Roman's not being interviewed. We can speculate that John may be making an announcement about Greg Roman's future, but I feel like the only announcement for Greg Roman's future is going to be he's going to be here. I'm just putting it out there. So guys, don't be disappointed when Monday hits. When it comes to Mike McDonald, I feel like Mike McDonald is going to be asked the questions. Why did you take the job sooner? How do you feel like you can make the change to this defense? What were the weak points of this defense and how can you make them strong? Stuff like that. How do you plan on utilizing, PQ, corners and stuff like that, things of that nature. Eric DaCosta will be asked, how's this year's draft going to look like? How's those contract extensions going to be? How do you feel about your coaches that you have in office? Do you feel like you have enough star power to make it to a Super Bowl? Things of that nature. So yes, I feel like, each staff member is going to get a lot of questions for this for their upcoming end of the season pressers. A lot of things do need to happen before those pressers begin. So I hope they do. I hope some things do happen, in regards to staff, in regards to contract extensions. But right now, the Ravens are playing the waiting game. As much as we love the Ravens and we expect things to happen instantly, that's just not the Ravens way. That's not the Ravens way. The Ravens love making us sweat during the offseason. They love making us sweat during the games. And hell, look what they did at almost 10 o'clock at night this past week They finally made it. They finally put it out there that Mike Macdonald's going to be the defensive coordinator. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, and random kind of side note, guys. Check out the TikTok account that we have. Just total random sidebar. Go check it out. It's about to hit 200 followers. So if anybody's in the stream following it already, shout out to you guys. I actually put out predictions for last week's games, and I somehow predicted all of them correctly, and also said that the Chiefs Bills game would go down as one of the best games of all time. I don't know how I predicted that correctly, but it was pretty sick. So if you want to see my predictions for tomorrow's game, you guys can check that out. Yeah, and Brock, the YouTube Shorts. Actually, when I feel like I have like a big TikTok and stuff like that I want to get out there, I post the TikToks from TikTok. I like save them and then post them on YouTube. But I post a lot more shorts like that on the TikTok. I just don't transfer them over because I don't want to like spam everyone's feed with my random TikTok videos and stuff like that. But I do make them. I make a couple every day if you want to check out the TikTok. But if you're not on TikTok, totally chilling. Don't need to be if you're not on it already. But yeah, it is a lot of fun though if you guys want to see more Ravens takes and stuff like that, because Ravens Twitter has gotten wild. Ravens Twitter, I saw someone tweet out yesterday. I thought this was hilarious. He said, I never thought I'd see the day, but Ravens Twitter is getting just as bad as Ravens Facebook. And I thought that was hilarious.
Pretty intense because Ravens Facebook groups are vicious.
Yeah. It goes crazy. Absolutely crazy on Ravens Facebook. But, also another thing that we should look at if you're the Baltimore Ravens is, I saw Engraven talk about this today, and I thought this was great to bring up, was this idea. And if you guys haven't checked out Engraven's video on John Harbaugh that came out today, absolutely go watch it. It's a great video. He talks about how Brian Billick, a month after getting assurance from Steve Bisciotti that like he's good, that's when he got fired. So it seems like, Harbaugh's getting this assurance, like, oh, we're working on a contract extension. Brian Billick was still owed like $15 million when they fired him. So, like, Harbaugh, even if he gets the extension, he's not super safe. And I think that's something that's interesting to bring up because Brian Billick was fired when he was not expecting to be. And it was after a 9-game losing streak, longest in Ravens history.
So that's the thing. Brian Billick didn't have Lamar Jackson. Brian Billick didn't really have a quarterback neither. So, I mean, as long as Lamar can get out there and play and put points on the board and get you a dub, John Harbaugh's job is safe. Sorry to say that. No, if the front office, surprises me and say, hey, yeah, we'll let it go with John Harbaugh. I'm like, whoa, something's in the water. What's going on? But let's go ahead and throw a plot twist out there. What if they do fire John Harbaugh and move Greg Roman up to head coach? Then what are we going to say? What are we going to do?
Oh no. Oh no. I think if that happens, Ravens fans, if Greg Roman becomes the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, I think we set up a GoFundMe and we buy the franchise and then we fire him ourselves. I think Ravens flock will have to drop the cash to get him out of there. And then we can sell the team back to Steve Bisciotti after we buy it for $4 billion. I think that's the only way that we can solve it. Or we just like set up like watch parties outside of EDC's like house or something like that. But I don't want to do that to Lacey. Lacey's too nice on Twitter, guys. Don't be mean to Lacey on Twitter. She's awesome. Shout out to Lacey DaCosta. But we got to figure out a way how to fire Greg Roman if he gets that job. Maybe we camp outside Greg Roman's house and just be like, don't say anything. Don't do anything mean. Just be there. And like everyone's just looking at this dude all the time.
No, I'm going to just show them different high schools that need head coaches at this point. I'm going to say, hey, man, you want to stay in Baltimore, right? This high school need a head coach, man. So they just don't want to go over there, pull a Biff Poggi on him. You know, you go slide back over to college if you want. You need a little bit extra ends. I mean, you can literally take one of these schools and just switch them around. You get Under Armour sponsored. Don't worry about it. You know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Greg
I love
Roman becomes the
I
head
love the
coach,
conversations y'all having amongst each other, y'all. And Kyle Bowler slander. The only thing Kyle Bowler was to go for, Brock P, was literally dating Brian Billick's daughter. So out of that, it's no go for me, my guy.
oh man. I don't know. I think my favorite like dating the coach's daughter was didn't Paul George like get engaged to what's his name? Doc Rivers' daughter. Like something like that when he was coaching. Crazy.
I think so.
And also, who the heck is spamming in here? Now you're making me open this up to then remember how to delete comments and ban users. I never open up the stream. Where is this? Let's see here.
Wow, that was pretty intense.
Yeah. What
Use the
I don't
hard
even.
Oh man, listen.
I can't even find it. What the heck? Top chat. Where? Live chat. I don't even.
It's so amusing.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it's not in top chat.
It's so amusing. Like I got exposed to that when I was playing football in high school, and guess what state it was? Actually, it was actually by a Delaware team.
Delaware.
You know, the state with free tax. You know. Oh man.
All right. That should be gone. I think I did it properly. Okay. Let's get back to guys, I will say, first off, I think Lamar is better than Joe Burrow. However, Joe Burrow like did get significant improvement. Like he just got, I felt like, a lot better, and he was also injured a lot of last year. So I think that that he's good.
Polish.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback. I'm rooting for the Bengals in the playoffs. It's kind of blasphemous for me to say, but I'm rooting for the Bengals in the playoffs. I love Jamar Chase. I just have so much fun watching that guy play football. But like, Collie, I think you're right. I think we got to get this set up.
I feel it. I'm definitely feeling it.
Oh,
I mean, you know, everybody. The Joe Burrow argument versus Lamar Jackson. I would say this. If Joe Burrow stayed at Ohio State, we would not get the Joe Burrow that we have today in the NFL. And right now, he's a sensation. The only thing I feel like he has a better grasp than Lamar is the trust of his coaches. I just feel like they really let him play over there in Cincinnati. Like it would have been, how can I put it? When John Harbaugh and Joe Flacco started together, there was a trust factor in between them. They let Joe play a little bit more, but with Lamar, it's like, hey, this is your package. This is what you're gonna run. Don't go outside. Don't go outside of it. If you go outside of it, then you're gonna get chewed out. Only time you should be going outside of it is when you want to go for 2 points. And Yolanda, hey, I definitely agree with that. You know, Joey B is a QB passer. I mean, there's nothing about that. I mean, he's accurate and he has time to see and make deceptions, and he's a real student of the game. Not saying Lamar's not a student of the game, but Joey B really dissects a defense. He really, he does check downs. They give him more free range in Cincinnati, to be that quarterback that he couldn't be. Same way they did down in LSU for him to really thrive. So that's the only thing I feel like Joey B got over Lamar.
and this is a great thing to bring up. The Ravens don't make the playoffs. And that's not slander against Joe Burrow. That just shows how important Lamar is to the team. I think that, I think what Cincinnati has done this year is great, and they are very hot right now. They are, I'm going to say, the second hottest team in the NFL. I think the Niners are a bit hotter, but overall, he's just doing it right now. I mean, I call him Joe Cool. I'm sorry, guys. I'm nicknaming him after Joe Montana because I feel like he's just kind of a winner in the playoffs, and that's not me like trying to discredit anybody else by me saying that. But he's just got that it factor in big games and stuff like that. We saw that in college. We saw that in the NFL. And I'm also going to say this, Lamar has that it factor as well. So don't think me saying that about Burrow is me dissing Lamar. I also think Lamar's a winner. Lamar has that it factor. Got to specify anytime I say anything related to any other player other than Lamar, I got to be like, guys, I'm not slandering Lamar just because I'm saying this. I think Lamar's great. But Joe's really good. Joe's a great player. He's definitely a top 10 quarterback in my eyes. I think Lamar's top 5 though. So those are my thoughts.
No, just because he was about to lead in interceptions don't mean he wasn't accurate. He accurately threw those interceptions. I mean, hey.
He accurately threw those interceptions.
He accurately threw touchdowns too. Let's not say our quarterback didn't accurately throw the ball to the opposing defenders, because there have been times where he thought he had it and squeezed it, and it wasn't there. And he accurately threw the damn ball to the opposing defender. So
how many times did Lamar accurately throw dropped passes against the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs? 7?
7 of them bad boys. 7 of them bad boys. You know what I'm saying? So, hey man, listen. Nobody's taking nothing away from Lamar Jackson. I'm not taking nothing from Lamar Jackson. If you tell me, if you right now, heck, even in 2018, if Joey B was in the same draft class with Lamar Jackson, they asked me who you going to take. I'm saying I'm taking Lamar. I already know what time it is with a Lamar Jackson. I come from Baltimore. I done played high school football in Baltimore. I done played against Tavon Austin. Guys like that where hey, we playing with him. I'm on his team. We won't let him rock out. So I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't root for the Bengals.
So you're rooting for the Chiefs?
I'm not rooting for anybody. Like my mom, she's gonna be going all crazy and everything like that. Like, I'm just watching the game. I'm just watching the game as a football fan.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. You guys have any other questions, stuff like that? Let's see here. Yolanda says, I'm rooting for whoever did not beat us up this season. Wow, that would be the Chiefs and the Niners. Factual. Which is crazy to say that the Chiefs didn't beat us up, because like every team beat up the Ravens this year, but not the Chiefs. We got the Chiefs.
We definitely did get that monkey over our back. So
yes, we did. And I think so many great things have been forgotten about this season that happened, right? The massive comeback against the Colts. Lamar Jackson was throwing the ball so well at the beginning of the year. The win against the Chiefs. Odafe Owe like dominating and getting those big plays and stuff like that. And everyone's just forgotten, and they're like, oh, so sad we got hurt. Like, yeah, we got hurt, but that doesn't mean that there weren't good things that happened throughout the year.
Yeah, and I did see someone ask, would if Joey B was our QB, would he make the playoffs? Honestly, that's such a hypothetical question. Are you asking me like with the same coaching? I don't think so. Because if we have a Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow's not going to be running this run style of offense with a Greg Roman. So no, I don't even think that would happen. Did Gus and JK had to get surgery on the injuries? Yeah, it was both ACL tears.
Yeah, and I've seen videos of Gus rehab.
They both been working out together.
Yeah. I've definitely seen them on IG stories and stuff like that. Doing some workouts. So, And I've also seen J.K. Dobbins is doing like the NFL, some sort of NFL Cares or something like that commercial. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I see him doing that too. But oh, ooh, this is interesting. If the Bengals succeed, it applies pressure to the Baltimore Ravens front office. This is a very interesting point that I had not thought of. I think this is absolutely true. If the Bengals win a Super Bowl, oh yeah, John Harbaugh's on the hot seat. Oh yeah, Eric DeCosta's thinking about it. Everyone is going, okay, what do we need to do that they did? And what did they do? They brought in a new coach. They brought in new coordinators. And they had a superstar quarterback. Ravens got one of them. Oops, I don't want to flip off the camera. Ravens got one of them.
Yo, like honestly, I'm gonna disagree with that for the simple fact, like we shouldn't. Yes, the Bengals are in the AFC North. Yes, the Bengals have been slowly been on the rise. Yes, the Bengals maybe have one of the hottest QB and wide receiver duo in the AFC, arguably behind Pat and Tyreek. But I feel like, as a Ravens organization, we should not be worrying about what the next organization is doing. If anything, yes, we do keep an eye on it, but at the same time, we need to be focusing on what we need to get done in order for us to really succeed. And right now, for us to really succeed, is letting go of this philosophy of putting guys in the doghouse, holding our quarterback back, and actually putting guys on the field that actually can produce and play well. And we need to get younger. So I don't I don't know if the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl is going to make them really, say, hey, we got to really kick it up a notch. I can't really say that right now because they've been on the rise, and honestly, they've been under the radar for the past couple of years, and now they're making a lot of noise. They're literally having a 2019 season, a Ravens 2019 season, just about.
Yeah.
So they could be the hottest thing right now, but once everybody gets together, like, hey, say the Browns get better, say depending on who the Steelers draft and things like that, they get better with a better quarterback and stuff like that. The competition is going to be, it's going to be more interesting. So let's see how they can keep this momentum up in Cincinnati. I'm not going to say this is going to be a one and done type of year. I feel like they're going to be very. I feel like they're definitely they have gotten themselves back in the conversation to make themselves, compatible, able to compete. So yeah, that's my. Nana said it best.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, we've been streaming for a little bit over an hour, almost an hour and 15 minutes. Shout out to you guys for coming into the stream. This was a very spontaneous stream. But you guys always make it fun. We're able to talk about, just kind of random things. Cause a lot of times we can't really make videos about really short ideas, like talking, oh, hey, Brady's kind of retiring, or Anthony Weaver's getting, interviewed to be the defensive coordinator of Denver, like all those types of things. Like, can't really make short videos on it, but we're able to talk about it in the live stream. So shout out to you guys for coming through, asking great questions, talking to each other, having good conversations and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun to be a part of. So shout out to all you guys. And as always, thank you everybody for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and we'll see all of you again next